Overwatch is under fire for cultural appropriation. That's great. Hindus urge removal of Devi portrayal from video game Overwatch. Hindus urge Blizzard Entertainment to remove Devi portrayal from Overwatch video game. Overwatch under fire again. Symmetra Devi skin sexual depiction trivializes Hindu goddess Kali. Hindu leader wants Blizzard to drop Symmetra's Devi skin from Overwatch. Ugh. Well, the Devi skin is based off of Kali, the Hindu goddess. Kali is the Hindu goddess of death, time, and doomsday, and is often associated with sexuality and violence. It is also considered a strong mother figure and symbolic of motherly love. So here she is, ripping out someone's intestines, so she's showing some motherly love there, and here she is riding a giant cock. Now, I'm not going to pretend to be a Hindu scholar, but I am going to say that what I've seen of her so far is that she has lots of arms, is often pictured with swords and decapitated heads, and she has a great rack. So hey, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. I mean, look at that tongue. I mean, yeah, there's teeth, but I mean, come on. This is Rajan Zed. Rajan is really big into history and face painting, and he is head of the Universal Society of Hinduism, whose mission statement is motivating, educating, and empowering people to make positive social, personal, and environmental changes. As long as you don't make fun of our imaginary friends. Because Hinduism is still around. Like, I almost forgot it was real, but yeah, Hinduism's, people are still into that. So there you go. Now, I don't care what you believe. You could worship the flying spaghetti monster for all I care. Just keep your mouth shut and don't get in the way of my life and the products that I use. However, once your religious beliefs start affecting how I live my life, either through suicide bombs or censorship of video games and anything in between, I start having an issue with you. Hashtag not all suicide bombers. So let's delve into these articles and see what's up. Overwatch under fire again. Symmetra Devi skin sexual depiction trivializes Hindu goddess Kali. I hate this for a number of reasons. One being, trivializes? Kali? Trivializes? Like, this implies that there's a certain level of importance that I need to give this imaginary character. Kali isn't real. She's some Hindu goddess. She is mythology. She is a story. I quite frankly don't care how much it does or does not trivialize her. I am under no obligation whatsoever to hold this imaginary friend of yours to any level of regard, be it high or low. From the Tech Times article by Horia Ungurianu, the title reads, Symmetra Devi skin sexual depiction trivializes Hindu goddess Kali. I don't get the sexual depiction trivializes her. Is the sexual depiction what trivializes her? Because I thought that Kali was a goddess that was associated with sexuality. In fact, if you go to Google image search for Kali, you will find a lot of the images have her riding dick. And she has no problems at all showing off that magnificent rack. But the actual skin in the game? Yeah, it sexualizes her. She's hot. She's gorgeous. I mean, look at her. The blue skin, which represents the infinite, looking great. She's got a very nice, attractive outfit, shows a lot of awesome skin. And her breasts are not overboard. They're not too big, not too small. They look nice, sensitive, easily grippable. The thighs, they are slender, they are strong, fit, healthy. The question begs, would I? And the answer is absolutely, in a heartbeat. What does Rajan have to say about this depiction of her in the video game? Well, oh, and by the way, this same guy, Rajan Zed, he was the one who castigated Hi-Rez Studios for playable Hindu gods in the game Smite. So this guy's all for censorship in video games because it makes fun of his imaginary friends. So quite frankly, he can go and fuck himself. Zed, who is president of the Universal Society of Hinduism, said that in a video game setup, the player controlled the movements of Devi, while in reality, the devotees put the destinies of themselves in the hands of their goddesses. Moreover, Devi and its movements depicted in Overwatch did not match with characterization of the goddess in the scriptures, Rajan Zed noted. Dear Lord. It's not enough to have an image of your holy goddess in a video game. No. This character has to be doing things that she did in the scriptures. Zed stated that Blizzard Entertainment needed to follow its own core values, which included lead responsibly. As one of the world's leading game companies, we're committed to making ethical decisions. As in this case, it was creating confusion in the minds of community about Devi by misrepresentation. Holy fuck. Are you saying that the Hindu community is so stupid, so idiotic? Are you implying that they are so dumb that they cannot tell between the fictional depiction of Kali in a video game and the fictional depiction of her in your holy scriptures? Dear Lord. I mean, imagine the confusion that must happen in the Catholic community once Jesus Christ Superstar came out. But this is what pisses me off. Zed further said that Hindus were for free speech as much as anybody else, if not more. But faith was something sacred, and attempts at belittling it hurt the devotees. Video game makers should be more sensitive while handling faith-related subjects, as these games left lasting impact on the minds of highly impressionable children, teens, and other young people. I mean, because it's okay to tell them that you can go to hell after you die and suffer horribly. I mean, that's fine. It's okay to tell impressionable children that, but don't make fun of Kali. Nuh-uh. Wouldn't want to leave a bad impression, would we? Look, remember back in January of 2015, after the Paris attacks? I know I have to specify which Paris attacks now. That's the world we live in. The Charlie Hebdo shootings. When those radical Muslim guys brought the AKs into Paris and shot up Charlie Hebdo because they were making fun of Muhammad. Remember when Pope Francis, freedom of speech has limits? The pontiff said religions had to be treated with respect so that people's faiths were not insulted or ridiculed. To illustrate his point, he told journalists that his assistant could expect a punch if he cursed his mother. So the Pope would commit battery against somebody because of words. What a child. He has said he would resort to physical violence over words that were said he didn't like. I mean, that's a good message to send to over 1 billion people. If someone makes fun of your mom, just punch him. Just punch him. Just hit him. Do that. It's the same exact premises. We're for free speech, but we're for free speech as much as anybody else, if not more, until somebody makes fun of something we believe. Until somebody makes a depiction of something that we don't like. Until somebody says anything that we just take offense to. We're for free speech as much as anybody else, if not more. But your free speech ends where my offense begins. We often hear about the slippery slope, and oftentimes it's overstated and overdone. But this is a scenario where that slippery slope just might have some merit to it. The fact that someone is taking offense to a Blizzard costume is ridiculous. It is incredible. In fact, it makes me think, how weak must your faith be if someone, quote-unquote, belittles one of your goddesses and you feel the need to censor them? I'm not religious. I have no problem with religious people as long as it doesn't interfere with my life. But from my perspective, how weak must your faith be that the tiniest, quote-unquote, inappropriate depictions of one of your holy figures causes this reaction from you, jumping from just being a guy who's Hindu to being someone who's Hindu who's calling for censorship in video games? Rajan, newsflash, this isn't something that people who are for free speech do. You can have free speech, or you can have a world where you're never offended. You cannot have both. You are going to have to make the choice. You are an advocate for censorship. You are saying, and this isn't like full frontal nudity or sexual content or something like that, right? This is just a depiction of a skin that is clearly modeled after Kali, the goddess. And you want it gone. You don't like it, it has to go. Rajan does not seem to understand one of the most important ideas behind censorship. One of the most important ideas that you have to remember whenever you want something gone or you want an opposing viewpoint silenced. It parallels something that Ronald Reagan said: the government that is powerful enough to give you everything is also powerful enough to take anything away. This idea that needs to be restated, the idea that needs to be propagated to these people, these pro-censorship, anti-free speech people, people who are against the creative, directive vision that a company has in their video game, right? What they cannot be allowed to forget Censorship that works in your favor today may not be the censorship that works in your favor tomorrow. You want to censor things that offend you. You want to censor things that are inappropriate towards your imaginary friend. Well, Rajan, have you ever asked yourself, what if somebody wants to censor you? What if you have an idea? What if you have a creation? What if you have something that you have made and somebody takes offense to it? What then? Because then you've set the precedent that it can be censored and removed because it offends somebody. You will become the victim of your own system. I found this comment on one of the articles and I loved it. It was excellent. We've also got to remove May's firefighter skin because it disrespects the heroes of 9/11. Soldier 76's special ops and stunt rider skins because it disrespects Spore vets and Evil Knievel. Roadhog's Islander skins, cultural appropriation, of course. The shark skins, cruelty to animal. Angel skins and the devil skin, well, that disrespects Christianity. And it's satanic. What if a Christian said, well, you can't have this skin in the game because it's a depiction of angelic beings that I find inappropriate? But that's what video games are these days, I feel. Not enough diversity, and you get complaints and comments, and everyone gets offended. But then when you add diversity, you get the complaints because you didn't do it the right way. If you add a woman into a video game, oh, she's not the right kind of woman. You add a freaking depiction of a goddess, oh, she's not the right depiction of the goddess. And I'm not even getting into the whole cultural appropriation nonsense that some people bring up, because a company decided to include things that were inspired by cultures from around the world. But again, if there's no diversity, people complain there's no diversity. You add diversity, people complain you're not doing it right. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. If we do not push back against this ridiculous behavior by people, standing up and declaring they're offended by this, that, and the other thing, then our hobby will suffer. Free speech will suffer. The creative visions of the people who produce the video games that we love to play, that we enjoy, it will be stifled by people claiming offense at every little thing they do not like. I don't care what your religion is. I don't care what you believe about this or that or the other thing. Keep it to yourself and don't try to censor and block the things that I enjoy, the hobbies that I like, because you take offense to it. Because remember, offense is never given. I don't have the ability to offend you. The offense only occurs when you decide that you are going to be offended by something. Show some backbone. Grow up. Don't show the world how weak you are by censoring things that you don't like. Look, I love video games. They are an amazing hobby. They are meritocratic. They are fun, challenging. They improve my skills in different things. They're educational. They let my imagination flourish. I enjoy them immensely. It's my favorite hobby. But the wonder of video games that we all enjoy, what makes them so great, or part of what makes them so great, is how creative and imaginative the developers of these experiences can be. Nobody is shoving video games down your throat. Nobody's saying you have to play this game like Rajan, whatever his name is, I forgot already. Like he is saying that something that you do that doesn't affect him should be censored, taken away, blocked out. He has such little faith, I suppose, in his religion that he cannot tolerate the idea that there are images out there that he doesn't like. At the tiniest show of resistance, at the tiniest sign of an opposing idea or an opposing thought or a depiction he just doesn't like, what does he do? He cries censorship, restriction of creative freedom. To Mr. Zed, his offense at something is more important than the entire creative vision of Blizzard and of Overwatch. You have to resist these ideas. You have to push back against people who try to infringe on our hobby. So, Rajan, you'd better be careful what you say, because one of these days you might say or do something that just might offend somebody else's imaginary friends. And then, well, then you'd have to shut up, wouldn't you?